Alright, so probably once the top layer here. Put a torch there. Okay. So here's where things get interesting. I need 18 books. Okay, thank you very much. I need 18 books because I need 6 bookshelves. I need exactly 6 bookshelves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, 2. You need 2 rows. 3 bookshelves, alright? Vertically like this. Just like this. These are here for decoration. Alright, and I need 1 cauldron. Put it to the left. I'll put water in it. Then I'll put a crafting table down. What's that? What just happened? Welcome to the Atelier, and this is where I'm going to get all of my alchemy stuff from. It just needs to, and don't move any of these bookshelves. If you remove them, this thing will just pop off. Because it needs it needs 6 bookshelves, it needs a cauldron. Doesn't need the water, but it looks better with it. And then a crafting table, and whenever you put the last thing down, it'll just be like, hey, this should be here. Alright, that's great. One more thing though. This thing does require power, and the only way to power it at the moment is to put a furnace, a vanilla furnace, directly under it, and then put some fuel in that furnace. I'm just going to put 8 in there. Now it'll start burning the fuel, and it'll start filling this little meter up here. You can start seeing it, it's filling up. Those 8 coal should last a while, because I believe it only takes like 4 coal to fill it up. It doesn't use an insane amount, and it will only burn the... It will only burn this stuff down in here. It'll only start burning it if it requires as much fuel as the item will take to burn. So there's no way you can waste fuel in that. But if you put something that has too much fuel in it, it could possibly not work ever. Okay. Also, you can't burn things in that furnace at the same time, or it won't count toward the fuel. Alright, so this thing's filling up. Starts off red, now it's turning, looks like magenta-ish. When it gets full, it'll be blue. So this guy's got a lot of slots in it. A little button up here, maybe. And it may be slightly reminiscent of the Force Infuser, because frankly, the Force Infuser was part and parcel of what made Dartcraft, and the Atelier is part and parcel of what makes Project Alchemy. Alright, so I've gotten some more stone here, which is good, because I'm going to need about 2 storage units for this. That's what I usually use. So it doesn't matter what else you put around this. I tend to put storage units. I tend to put them around like this. Alright, so I've got 2 storage units here, that's good. Actually, this one I want to put up here for right now. And this is important. Alchemical flasks. I'm going to be needing a lot of these little suckers. Here's what you do. You actually put them in here. You can shift click them, you can just drag them in, whatever. They go in these slots. They won't go in any other slots. You need to have a bunch of empty ones in these, because this is its working. This is its work area. Okay? So you want to fill these up with empty slots. With empty flasks. So you want to make tons. And I'm going to need more than this, but for right now this should be okay. And now that this is all set up this way, I can finally start using alchemy. Now, if you look at anything, almost anything, if you are either in this GUI or you're not in the GUI and you hold shift, you can see these elements over the items. So, for cobblestone, it says that it has silicon, oxygen, potassium, and iron. And it says that it has specific amounts of it. This is for this single item. So if it's a stack of 64, it has that times 64. But this shows you the individual items' elements. Base elements that they're made out of. And if I put, say, cobblestone in here, and I press this little button, it will deconstruct that one piece that I just clicked on, use a tiny bit of energy, and it will deconstruct it into its base element. So now I have 0.93 grams of silicon. I have oxygen, potassium, and iron in a very small amount in these flasks. And if I do that 1, 2, 3, 4 more times, I have 4 more times that much because they're now stored in this. It deconstructs the item and puts the elements in these flasks. Now, the important thing to note is that there is a limit to the amount you can store in these flasks. And if you end up deconstructing more than it can store in any of these, it will be wasted. So mind your 18 slots of flasks. If you're smart, that will never happen. There are 18 slots after all. That's quite a few. Alright, now if you want to do more than one at a time, say if I want to do 16 at a time, if I put 16 in here, I hold Shift and then press this button. It'll do 16 at a time. So that was significantly more. So if I just want to get rid of my cobblestone here, I can get some silicon, oxygen, potassium, and iron out of these. Or if I say I want these oak wood planks gone, I can just put one in here, and boom. Of course, now I have many more elements in here, and I'm up to 8. However, to be honest, I only use about 12 elements with any proclivity, so it's not too obstreperous. It's not going to get too difficult or confusing, or you're not going to have to balance like 30 different elements. Really, I think the most that I use, even some of the more uncommon ones, is probably about 20 in total. Okay, so that's all well and good for deconstructing things, but that doesn't do anything, because now I just have these little things. Oh look, there's a thing, I can hold it. Ooh, it renders. Yay. Who gives a crap, right? Well, actually, there is another slot that I've been neglecting. This guy up here. And unfortunately, I need more leather to use that, so I'm going to have to go farm it. Okay, 35 leather. Not a ton, but it will do. Although I do need more paper now that I think about it. And in fact, I need quite a bit more paper, so I'm gonna have to go farm that too. Okay, great. So, now when I have paper, I believe I put paper in the middle and leather on the outside. There we go. And it gets me what's called a research vellum. I want a few of these. These do not stack. And you put them in this slot right here. They won't go in any other slot. Now, if I were to deconstruct, say, one piece of cobblestone, it didn't do anything yet, but it checks the available research materials that I can get, the available recipes I can get from cobblestone. Here we go. And it randomly chose the recipe for alchemy pack upgrades. And now, if I want to make this recipe, all I have to do is put it in here, and it takes a certain amount of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, as we can see, and it will actually highlight the ones that it needs. And if I have them in there, this button will be grayed out if there's nothing in this slot, and I will be able to create it. Unfortunately, while I do have enough oxygen, we'll see this one is highlighted white, but these are great. Everything that is not relevant is completely grayed out. The things that I don't have quite enough of, carbon, nitrogen, and hydrogen, are a little bit grayed out. So it's got a bit of a highlighting system to it. It looks like I only have 1.6 grams of carbon. I need 12.8. I need quite a bit more hydrogen and nitrogen. But I don't really want to make that right now anyway. Now that's a cool recipe to keep around, because that is one I would like, but I have limited vellums I can make at the moment. So here's the thing. If you get a recipe that you don't quite want, you can actually take it and shapelessly craft it back into a vellum. So I can try this again, as long as I have enough materials. So let's see what I get now. Chiseled stone bricks recipe. Okay, that's interesting. Now, this actually has the exact same recipe as cobblestone. So, if I simply want to make one, I now have chiseled stone bricks. So, if I keep this recipe around, which I will, I can actually make chiseled stone bricks straight up out of cobblestone just by transmuting it directly. Now before I do anything else, let me make another storage unit. Because what I like to do is I like to put the block recipes in this one and the item recipes in this one. And I'll upgrade them as we go along.